a seat, sip some wisdom, and stay a while. This is the Prosperity Lounge, where growth gets personal. Step inside, we're breaking chains.
Welcome back to the Prosperity Lounge, where hope meets freedom and growth gets personal. I'm your host, Jimmy Ruffalo, financial coach and author of Business Growth Strategist. What would it mean for a child who's never felt safe enough to nap at home to finally rest? It's a question many of us never think to ask. The answer will change you and your outlook. Today, we're talking about how 1 week at camp can change it. Here in the lounge, we talk about money, we talk about mindset, we talk about business and wellness, because frankly, prosperity isn't about your bank account. It's about freedom in every area of your life. My guest today is Chris Tarver, co-founder of Camp Amplify. Along with his wife, Lisa, he's dedicated the last 8 years to serving kids who otherwise would never get a summer camp experience. These kids come from foster care, shelters, and quite frankly, difficult home situations. And for 1 week, Camp Amplify surrounds faith, family, food, and fun. The 4 F's. So let's pull up a chair and welcome Chris to the lounge. Chris, welcome to.
Thank you for having me. I am excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited you're here too. I remember my summer camp experience. I didn't go to camp as a camper, I was a counselor when I was in high school. I worked at a summer camp in New Jersey that was for blind kids.
Mhm.
And I was there with blind and impaired kids, and there was 1 week where the students were not blind and impaired; they were handicapped, most really severely.
Special needs.
For sure. And I'm 16, 17 years old, and my job in that week, sometimes I'm feeding, sometimes I'm bathing, sometimes I'm doing a lot than I thought I should do at 16. But you grow up fast.
Wow.
You grow up fast. And I still remember that. I'm dating myself, everyone. That's 30 years ago.
That takes a special teenager to be able to. There's not very many teenage boys that would sign up for something like that. So.
Sometimes I say things, Chris, just to get a pat on my back.
Mad respect.
That's all I'm doing. Yeah, but it's just the experience of that. I still remember the experience. And I still think fondly on the week. And I still remember some of the campers. And I still remember how one of them probably had a salsa dance.
Wow.
That's right. So we're talking about that experience of camp and the kids, that 1 week can change everything. It certainly can to just everybody.
The power of these kids that are in difficult situations to get out of that difficult situation. And we have people ask, well, why not do day camps?
Mm-hmm.
Why do overnight camps? Why do 5 days? Because we get them out of that situation to focus on something different. And Joey, to be honest, many of these kids are in situations where their families are sowing things into them of they can't, we don't do that, you can't do that. And we completely change all that, and we sow positive into their minds and their hearts.
Absolutely. What was the moment you guys knew, especially you, well, maybe you knew before Lisa did, or at least before you, that you had to say yes to the calling?
Yeah. So I met the founder called Camp Grace.
Camp Grace.
They continue to mentor us. Their camp is outside of Macon. They serve the same kind of kids, inner city Atlanta kids, inner city Macon kids, other inner city areas that come to week-long overnight summer camps. And their model is the same as ours. The partner comes with them, and we get a chance to love on, encourage, pray with, prop up, hold on to the partner that's working in that organization that brought the kids. So part of our ministry is to the partner also, not just the kids that come.
Interesting. So take me back to that concept of the partner.
Yes.
Explain that to me a little bit, and how that works.
So the kids got to go somewhere. And because they come from so many different places, it would take us 3 days to drive around on a bus and just
No,
pick
that's true.
everybody up.
Yeah.
So we have the different organizations show up at camp with the kids. But instead of them dropping them off and leaving, we have them stay. Because if I'm that partner, I want to see how you treat my kids. Because every one of these partners, that's their kids. Whether it's their blood kids or not, that's their kids. And they want to see how we're going to treat them. Two, we get a chance to love on and encourage them. And one other trick that Camp Grace taught us, if you don't do that, the partner may send their worst kids for a week
Okay.
so they can be rid of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And you have to put up with them for a week. So there's several reasons why we bring them, but it's mostly it's part of our ministry is to them.
What is the role of the partner there? Are they acting as like a pseudo counselor, or are they also just a giant camper as well, going through the same things that the kids are going through?
They can do any of the above.
Okay.
In fact, they don't even have to come to the meeting. If they want to go do something else, they want to sleep in, they want to do. They don't have any responsibilities that we ask them to do. We meet with them some. We encourage them some. We sit with them. We do special things with them, but we don't ask them to do it in case we need them.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll have a camper has a meltdown, and particularly we had a young girl a couple years ago had a meltdown. Well, it turned out that she had multiple siblings from multiple different daddies, all living in a one-bedroom apartment. And if I was her, I would probably ask too. But without a partner there, we wouldn't know the situation that she's in. We just knew she was being very difficult to deal with.
And I was a partner too. They have more background information, like
Yes. Yes.
connections, so they're able to kind of diffuse situations.
Yes. And they're able to speak to the kids in ways we wouldn't speak to them because they have a relationship with them.
You like guidance on that situation.
Yes.
To kind of tell you sometimes if the students you're trying to if I was reading ropes the things the students not you'd be like, how do we encourage or push for them to get out of the comfort zone in the right way? That person's gonna help you in that situation as well.
John Maxwell has a famous quote that there is no comfort in the growth zone and there is no growth in your comfort zone.
I love that.
And so we do all we can to get these kids out of their comfort zone. And for the most part, just by showing up, they're outside of their comfort zone.
Right.
We had one young girl, Joey, this has been the second year we did camp. She showed up crying. She showed up in the partner's van crying. And I'm trying to tell her, there's no crying at camp. No, we don't allow crying at camp. This is for fun. Well, for a couple of days, that changed to a smile and she started enjoying herself. But it turned out she had just gotten to the shelter and she had been drugged from place to place to place. And here she is being drugged yet again to another place with people she don't know to go do things she don't know. She feels like she has no control over anything.
Wow. So take me to you guys met, or you and your wife met 40 years ago at UT.
Yes.
Dating ourselves here. Okay, 40 years ago.
Yes.
How did those early experiences shape your heart for kids?
My wife grew up going to summer camps, and she was actually a camp counselor.
Okay.
And Joey, as we have looked at camps to leave space from and camps to use, we visited the camp that she went to. And the gentleman that hired her at 16 years old was still their camp director.
Wow.
And it looked just like it did when she was 16. She cried.
Yeah. Probably was a lot smaller as you guys got older and taller.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And so she grew up going. So we knew the power of camps. And then I've been a chaplain at the largest high school in the Southeast working with the football team. And we went to FCA camps in West Georgia. And I got to see the power just of those guys, being able to get them out of their house for a little bit and what doing camps does. And so really started led down that road. We met the people at Camp Grace and they shared what their motto was. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. I raced home to tell my wife all my excitement, and her response was, "That's fine."
Oh, that's fine for the spouse. It's one of those hard. I need a guidebook or something to figure out what that means. It's a lot of definitions. That's fine.
Yes.
Either go for it or like, okay, I've heard you, but we're not doing it.
Yeah, hers was more of I hear you and you go enjoy.
This is on you. First summer Camp Amplify was what year?
2018.
2018. Take me back to that first summer. You guys had 20 campers out here.
We had 20 campers. Joey, 16 of them came from the Boy Clubs.
Okay.
And until they showed up, I was not convinced they were actually coming. And the partner that brought them said that she had been telling her friends, I don't do woods. I don't like to be outside.
Wow.
And they literally, following GPS, found a way that their van had to drive through a creek to get there. Wow. She said, Chris, we almost turned around about 3 times. So she showed up, and there were 4 other kids, and they were from a missionary family from China.
Oh, okay.
And they'd reached out to us through social media. Hey, do you have space for us? We're like, yeah, come on. And so and the Chinese missionary's son asked Jesus into his heart at our camp.
Wow.
And Joey, I sat and cried because only God could bring a child all the way from China off the mission field to meet Jesus at a camp with 20 campers.
I love that. I was thinking in my head that feeling you said when you think of anybody that wasn't going to show up. Quite honestly, it's a feeling I get every week after the radio show here. Is the guest's going to be there, and what am I going to do? I'm always relieved when somebody shows up. So that getting the word out that first year, what were some of the things that you did, and then what are some of the follow up to that? So what are some of the things that you did that first year to kind of spread that word?
We went and reached out, just network, reached out, and the way we were able to get people to come is somebody else knew us. So what we were calling third party credibility. Someone else connected us to that Boys and Girls Club. They see value of what we're doing. And to be honest, Joey, every child is 100% scholarship. And those first 2 years, we didn't charge a penny to anybody. But what we've started doing is charge $25. And the reason we did that is we found that people would say, oh, we'll bring kids, and they show up with 5 because 45 of them didn't have any skin in the game. And whether they come or not, it didn't matter. So they wouldn't show up. So it's just a little bit of accountability, and we do it as a registration fee or an application fee. But to continue on your question, just networking, people getting to know us and building a relationship. And that same partner brings kids every single year and was there last year. And this partner last summer, her granddaughter came.
That's awesome.
When we gave the invitation, her granddaughter asked Jesus into her heart. And she came up to me with tears in her eyes and said she's been in church her whole life, but she's never committed to this until she came to your camp.
Wow. So really, you're talking about, this is a great lesson for anybody in business. You had networks that you built prior to this.
Yes.
A reputation of being a certain person.
Yes.
People want to be around and connected to. So when you started this next venture, you had people rally around you and support you because they knew what they were getting, associating themselves with Chris.
Amen. Exactly.
And that's an important lesson for anybody. So you're trying to do things. I've learned it the hard way myself. Going alone is the most difficult way to do it. There's a phrase I attribute to John Wooden. It's attributed to a bunch of different people. It's if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a team.
Exactly. Yes.
And so building a team of people around you to support you. Now, whether those people are actually actively involved in your day to day, but they're still supporting you. You had that option. You had that capital built up that you could say, okay, I'm ready to cash in, and I need you to bring me people because this is what we're doing. They're like, absolutely. We know Chris, we can do it.
And you're right. And the support can come in the form of sharing and telling people about it. The support can come in the form of donations. The support could come in the form of showing up at camp and volunteering. I mean, there's lots of ways that we get support. And all of it, Joey, to be honest, all of it is encouraging to us and uplifting.
Mm-hmm. Now, you described the camp as both a mission and a ministry.
Yes.
So how does faith inform the way you lead camp?
So we do 2 rallies every day and we call them rallies. They're services, but 2 rallies every day. It's lots of singing, a little bit of sharing.
Okay.
These kids are 8 to 12, so any of us standing up there in front of the room talking for more than about 15 minutes, they're out. They're done.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit of sharing, but really it's about the counselors making connection with these kids and how they love on these kids. And most of these kids, Joey, they're being raised by their grandmother.
Mm.
There are no men in the home anywhere, so our male counselors are among the most popular because they don't see a godly man.
Mm.
And how will a young lady ever pick out a godly husband if she never sees what one looks like?
That's true.
And how will a young man grow up to be a godly man if he never sees what one looks like?
That's right.
So and so we put high quality young people in front of these kids so they look at it and say, you know what? I don't want what I've been seeing at home. I want to be like that.
So speaking of that, and I'm checking my notes to see if I have it later because I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I don't think I do. This is a good question. When you are screening for counselors, what's that process look like? Because you obviously said you want to have a type of person there that's going to not only make the camp its best shine light, but also potential role models for these.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what does that look like as far as if somebody wanted to be a counselor?
We try to make the application process easy for these young people, and most of our counselors are high school and college age young people. We've had counselors in their 50s, and we're not opposed to that. It just takes a lot of energy
Sure.
to get up early
I
and
was
stay
16
late.
and exhausted. I don't know about now. I did mine. But yeah.
And so, but we do have our application is 4 pages, and it's intentional. And we ask them to write out their testimony. We ask them to write out specific because I want them to work at it and have a little bit into this.
Sure.
We do we check all the references, and we do background checks through Ministry Safe.
Okay.
So everybody is background checked. They're all the references. And now most of the counselors we get, another counselor knew them, and they've invited them to come along. So we have that reference that
So-
makes it even easier. And we pay them.
There you go.
Yes.
I don't remember if I got paid or not. I want to say, yeah, I don't remember. It's been a
Yes.
long time ago.
Yeah, we pay them. So we provide everything for them. All they have to do is show up. We
Yeah.
provide all the training materials with all the training, all the everything, and we pay them for the week.
And like you said, most of the counselors, some of the counselors are bringing people along. That's part of that, like we talked about earlier, that networking of building that networking capital. Now you got good people around you, and they see, hey, I had a great experience. I think my friend, whatever, has a great experience here too.
Yes.
Will be fitting
Yes.
along.
Yes.
Now, in your application, when they write everything out, are you screening for ChatGPT nowadays? I was like,
Great point. Yeah, great point. And then they're able to submit it electronically, so we make it easy
Okay.
on them. But it's very, I don't, I hadn't thought about that. But how
There
I
you
met
go.
Jesus through Chat GPT. I'm not. I guess it could spit that out. I don't know.
Oh, man. Okay. So let's get a little practical here and talk about the kids themselves for a second. I wrote down here, who are the kids and what does a week look like?
So the kids, again, ages 8 to 12.
Okay.
They come from homeless shelters, battered women's shelters is a group that we've served for almost every year we've had camp. Boys and Girls Clubs, the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Tennessee Valley. And I think they just added 2 new clubs. I think there are 25 plus different clubs. They bring kids to our camp every year. Bart McFadden has become a very good friend of ours. And I try to see him every time I'm in town. And great guy, speaks very highly of us, supports everything that we do. But these kids all come. The Boys and Girls Clubs identify which kids need to come. The shelters identify which needs to come, and they use it a little bit as behavior modification because if the kid is acting up at the club, they're going to act even worse when you're doing a sleepaway camp. And so they tell the kids, you're not acting good enough to be able to go to camp. So it helps them in being able to do that also.
So they can put in place like reward systems
Yes.
or to earn their way to camp.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
So it really spreads out not just the 1 week at camp, it's getting into the community at
Great
home
point.
and
Yes.
their own environment there.
Yes.
Slowly do some behavior modification.
Yes, and we do get to meet with the clubs and share with kids. We have parent days and things like that, so they can see us, do what we do,
Okay.
show videos, those kind of things.
Cool. So it's kind of a repetitive question here. Who are the kids you serve? But like regions, like where are the kids you're serving?
So we serve kids from North Georgia and East Tennessee.
Okay.
But if an organization reached out to us and said, we're in Alabama, we're in North Carolina, we're in South Carolina, we'd like to bring kids, as long as we got bed space, kids are welcome.
Cool.
We'll figure it out. I'm usually limited, Joey, by how many counselors I have because we don't want to put on a bad camp.
Sure.
We have a 1-to-3 ratio. So our cabin or our family is made up of 6 campers, a counselor in training, and a counselor. And the reason we do that, and we could have more numbers, but the reason we do that is I don't want to put on a bad camp and the campers don't enjoy it or the counselors don't enjoy it. And we spend all our time chasing Banji Indians and all we're doing is yelling at them. I think it'd be fun for any of us.
Oh man. You had mentioned the partner coming with them to camp. Is that how they get to camp?
Yes. Yes. Almost all of them come in like a 15-passenger van. Boys and girls clubs, because there's multiple different clubs, they rent a school bus.
And they kind of work in that area, pick them all up, and
yes, sir.
Come down because they're all kind of there. Okay, makes sense. You had told a story, and I always like to tell people I've met Chris twice before, and he was our guest speaker at Rotary a few weeks ago, so it's perfect timing. And I believe it might have been in this speech that you gave about 2 boys who didn't know if they'd eat tomorrow. And there was something with the buffet.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that and what that moment taught you about the importance of food for these kids.
I won't get it out without crying. I've never told this story, and
there's tissues in there, Chris.
It did not make me cry.
Yeah, there you go.
It was the second year that we had camp.
Okay.
And these 2 little boys kept going back and getting more food. And they would sit down and they would eat it real fast. And they'd go back and get more. And they were getting things like a bowl full of sliced pickles. And they would eat it real fast, and then they'd go back and get more.
Nice.
And I finally stopped them because I thought they were going to get sick. And I thought they were being a little obnoxious, if I'm being transparent. I just didn't think that was proper behavior.
Okay.
Right after I did it, the partner said, Mr. Chris, can I talk to you a minute? And she pulled me off to the side, and she put her arm around me, and she sweetly said, these 2 little boys have never seen this much food. Wow. When there's food left over and it's all you can eat, they don't know how to act. And she added, Mr. Chris, they're eating tonight because they don't know they get to eat tomorrow.
Wow.
That's the kind of kids we serve.
Yeah,
that's one of the 4 F's.
And we don't realize how important just nutrition is in general to our daily well-being. I mean, we think we're getting food, and for some, food are chips and soda.
Yep.
And not to get into politics, and I won't, but that's why there's a huge push in the SNAP program to kind of eliminate some sugary foods and foods that aren't there because we want to have more nutritious foods for people to have access to.
Yes.
Because there's something with brain chemicals and things when we have all these different types of sugars, monounsaturated fats, and all this stuff.
And I'll be honest,
I'm not a scientist, everybody, but this is what I've read.
And this was a camp. So it was camp food, if you will. It was not fancy. It
was probably better than anything they've ever seen before.
Yes. For you and I, it would be, it's school food. You know?
Sure.
For them, it was
gourmet feast.
Yes.
Okay. And then also just like you said, the importance of them realizing, not knowing when the next meal is going to come. And am I going to fill myself up to satisfy myself for the next day or two? Am I going to be okay? Because there's no recognition of that in their life.
Yes. And one other food story for you. Several years ago, we had a young person, one of our counselors was going through the cabin and noticed a pillowcase filled with snacks we've been giving out.
Okay.
And so we pulled that camper out of the cabin and said, "What are you selling these? You're opening your own store? What are you doing here?" And of course, then we started crying. She said, "My siblings don't eat these kind of snacks at home.
Oh wow! So bringing them home.
I'm saving some for them to take home so they get good snacks too."
That's awesome. That's That's awesome. I'm sure there's going to be some chores that have to be done in order to get those snacks ordered. Right? Wow, that's amazing. You had also mentioned something about, speaking of food, um, serving meals at round tables rather than square tables. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the camps that we lease space from, for the most part, we don't have our own space yet. We're leasing space from the previous 8 years.
Hmm.
Most of the time, it's like going through the lunchroom. You go through the line, they put the food on. They control portions. They put
Hmm.
the food on. You sit down and eat in long tables, kind of shoulder to shoulder, or elbow to
Sure.
elbow, not really able to make connections. What we want to do is we want to have round tables when we have our own camp and serve family style intentionally so
Hmm.
that you take a portion and share. And by the time the bowl gets all the way around, there's still food. And if that bowl runs out, we've got more coming to you. And it makes you engage and see how you eat and treat each other as a family.
Yeah, that engagement is very important because you think about round tables in general. The first thing I think was King Arthur,
Mhm.
and the reason for the round table, from my recollection of that, was everybody's equal at the table. There's
Mhm.
no head at the table,
Mhm.
so the king ate with his servants essentially.
Yes.
And in that situation, there was, like I said, being equal, and I can see that in your thought process here of like everybody is, well, the engagement part first of all, because nowadays everybody's eating at different times in the family. Nobody's eating together anymore. And if you're eating together, you're not really present.
Yes.
You're on your phone, you're watching TV,
Thank you.
your ears, you're in earbuds, you're watching a TikTok video or
Yes.
something.
Yes.
So we're eating together, Chris, but we're not eating together. We're not talking or having a conversation about your day anymore. How was your day?
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yes. And I even give the counselors topics to discuss.
Mm,
How was the day? What's your favorite meal? What's your best experience? What happened here? What happened there? If they're not, and usually they're sitting and spilling anyway,
sure.
but if they're not talking, we give them topics and practice.
So it's like a mini networking Toastmasters kind of thing. Here's table
Yes.
topics to do and
Yes.
get you guys engaged talking and learn how to have conversation with somebody at a table and
Yes.
during a mealtime.
Yes.
Listen and talk, and
And we
and
want
then
to be
manners stuff happen too.
we want to be
Wow.
intentional about every single second at camp, every single word we put in their ears, every single song, every single verse is prayed over and looked at and looked through. Every theme, every costume, everything we do is intentional, all for pouring in and loving on those kids.
I love that. Now we talked about one of the F's already, food. We're going to the other F's. The four F's that you guys talk about and kind of center the camp around is faith, family, food, and fun.
Yes.
Now we talked a little bit about food. Let's talk a little bit about family. Um, Many of these kids, like you said, live in chaotic world. How does camp give them a sense of family, even if it's just for 5 days?
Yes, exactly. And so we break those cabins up into family groups so that they can see how families treat each other, how people treat each other. Again, about the table with family. And we start the camp with tell your neighbor, hey fam, because you're here at Camp Amplify, you're now part of the Camp Amplify family. And that will be forever. I even ran into a camper that was at camp 7 years earlier. And she said, "Oh, I remember I was at Camp Amplify." It started talking glowingly about her counselor and how awesome her experience was. And that was 7 years earlier.
Wow, that's crazy. Um, what's the role of, this is going to be my favorite part. What's the role of fun?
So,
Why is joy so critical for these kids when they're going through trauma?
as I heard on a program that my wife and I enjoyed when it was on called The Blacklist, and one of the things he said on there is, if it isn't fun, why bother?
James Spader?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And that's just kind of something that we've clung to. We want everything we do, we want it to be fun. Now, and I tell them there's two rules when you get here. That's in their introduction. You have to listen to everything your counselor says, and you have to have fun. And I tell them if you're not having fun, you make it to go home because if this isn't fun, why do you want to be here?
Right.
And so I'll walk by some of the campers sometimes and they'll go, "I'm having fun. I'm having fun." They're afraid I'm going to make them go home. But and we do high ropes and low ropes if the camp has that. We do
Right.
climbing walls. We do swim survival lessons that are put on by the YMCA because most of these kids cannot swim. And Joey, when we get to the pool, they jump in the deep end and they can't swim. And
I love the current. The whole start on that. Putting my toe in if it's cold. I'm not going in. This kid,
yes,
be 12 again.
yes, and so everything we do it's designed for fun, high activity, high energy because we want them to sleep at night.
Now, one of the things that may be considered fun, but may be considered not fun for these kids is the fact that the camp is phones free.
Yes, yes, and we took that wise counsel from other camps,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, Chris, one of the reasons you want to do that is these kids are dressing and undressing in different places.
Oh, wow.
And kids don't think about stuff like that, and they take pictures and they do things like that, and that just obviously all inappropriate.
Sure.
Secondly, I don't want my counselors to have them because I know how doggone distracting they are to me, and I know how distracting they can be to people, and I don't want their attention distracted for even a second from these kids.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris. What were you saying?
And third, these kids, we serve foster kids.
Mhm.
And if somebody posted where this kid was, it may let the parent know where they are. Now the parent is showing up at this camp on the field, and that just brings up a whole. I mean, I haven't got time for it.
No. So it's a huge part of the liability aspect, but there's also a sense of like, let's reconnect to nature and ourselves and each other and not get our bury our heads in the phone. Like we talked about with the meal situation. We're sitting there having a meal, but I'm on my phone. Are we really having it together?
Yes, yes. So it's safety, but it's also connection.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned something about day three. Day three kind of being a turning point in this situation. They kind of fight it the first day or two, and they're like getting some pushback. I imagine parents and even the people that come with them are also like, maybe I can't be on my phone. I'm an adult. I'm going to be on my phone whenever I want. By day three, you see changes.
We did, and the walls start coming down. It's usually at night. They have built up trust. They can see the counselors real, or as young people say, they're 100.
Mm-hmm.
They're 100% into what it is that we're doing, and then to me, I can trust them. The walls start coming down. They get a little tired. And they start to get to know the people in their cabin and the other people in the cabin. The walls start coming down, and they start opening up and sharing. And Joey, I'll be honest, sometimes it's a rough night because they open up and share some very difficult circumstances. We had the you can imagine some of the most awful things that these kids may be exposed to with family members or with whoever, uh, being trafficked, I mean, these are 8 to 12-year-olds. And we're just, and I can remember one night, the counselor came and got my wife and said, hey, it's this. And so we went and got the partner, and the partner said, yes, we knew that was going on before they ever got to us. We knew about it. And my wife just started crying. She said, I just want to have a chance to be kids.
Right.
They just want to be kids. So I got to tell you one quick story. The partner that brought them the first year that brought the 16, on Thursday night, one of our volunteers was sitting next to her, and she was sad. And she said, why are you sad? This is camp. Why are you sad? She said, because I got to take them back home. She said, I have seen a light turn on in these kids' eyes I had never seen at the club before. She said, you see that one right there? Her mom goes out at night to work, and she watches all the kids. You see that one right there? Her mom gets up early in the morning and goes and works at the chicken plant. She gets all her brothers and sisters up and gets them breakfast and gets everybody on the bus.
Wow.
She said, while they're here, they can be a kid. And I don't want to take them back home.
Man, that's some powerful stuff.
No. Oh.
That is crazy. I do, we talk about trafficking. I do a lot with Tennessee Business Against Trafficking here in the state of Tennessee. And this stuff will be Monday. I'm actually going to a trafficking summit in Nashville with the Secretary of State to learn more about what's going on in the state. I think it's the second fastest growing criminal enterprise in the nation.
Yes.
Behind drugs. It's not sexual trafficking, it's human trafficking, it's work trafficking, it's everything. It's just been recognizing what the signs are in trafficking. There was one story they told about a woman who was at a hotel and she was just nicely dressed, and every day she was just walking past the front desk and nobody saw her or said anything. And then finally they got her out of the situation, and the first thing she asked was, why didn't anybody say anything? It was because they didn't recognize that this was going on right in front of the
So
hotel.
sad.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
And a lot of times it's family members that are doing it too, other family members. There was another situation where a woman she worked a regular job 9 to 5 at Target and was being trafficked at night because of the financial situation. And
Wow.
then they got a hold of her, and there was some drugs and stuff involved as well. But once they get their hooks into you,
Yeah.
they own you. And so you're gonna work a regular job, but at night you're ours. And again, just recognize the signs. So I can understand the situation some of these kids are coming from.
Yes.
Where it's rough. And
Yes.
they're seeing it. They're exposed to things they should never be exposed to. Even as adults, they shouldn't be exposed to them, but as kids, man.
For the last 2 years, we have brought in a trauma trainer because many of these kids are in trauma, and it's a TBRI trainer. And the reason we did that is we're not going to fix them in 5 days, Joey, but I need to know how to respond to them.
Sure.
I need to recognize what's going on when a kid just sits or don't want to do anything or what. And so it helps us be able to respond properly.
Yeah, and I'm sure in those situations it probably gives the kids at least one takeaway that they can work on, and one
Yes.
to understand and realize if they're feeling a certain way, how to kind of flip that switch to not go down that path. Because
Yes.
I mean, you're in a place, Chris, where you got these kids that are underserved, underprivileged, from situations like you described that are horrific in some cases. This week is their 1 week a year, maybe. I don't know if the kids come back, maybe 1 week in their life where they're normal, and you guys are giving them tools to recognize when and how to make better decisions, so they're not going down the path of drugs and gangs and just falling through the cracks and not living up to their potential.
Yes. And they get to see it lived out. It's not just words on a page.
Sure.
They get to see a young person that loves Jesus and loves them and what that looks like.
There's an old adage or saying, and again, I can't remember who said it. It's usually around the money situation. It's like find 10 people or 9 other people who are more successful than you that come in there and be more successful. Like who company you keep kind of.
Yes. Yes.
Giving these kids examples of positive affirmations, positive influences, positive people that are successful. They know they're not surrounded by negativity in their life because they've seen positivity at some point.
Yes.
That's crazy. I love that. I love that. So how do you balance pushing kids towards growth without putting them in this, what I wrote down, this freak out zone?
I love that. So, particularly when we're doing rope activities or other kind of activities, we want them out of their comfort zone. So we want them uncomfortable, but then past that is the freak out zone.
Sure.
A couple of years ago, we're doing ropes, and the young man said, "Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this." He was the first one up. He got 2 steps out there, and he froze, and he cried so long we couldn't talk him out of it. They had to get a forklift to go up and get him. He was
Chris,
in the freak out zone.
I told you not to share that story of my experience. That was between us. So I feel when I get up there on a zip line or a roller coaster, I'm ready to go, and I'm nope. Give me off this thing.
It was Joe. It was so funny. He just kept saying, "Oh, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing," and he literally got 2 steps out on it. And
No, that's it. Hey, at least you got 2 steps out on it.
yes,
Before you realize
yes. At least he tried it.
Great
But then
for
we
them.
had a climbing wall a couple of years ago at a camp we were at, and we post on social media what we're doing, but it comes through us.
Yeah.
And we're careful about what we do and what we show and things like that. And we had one of the parents reach out to us and said, "I never dreamed my kid would be able to do that."
Oh, what do you mean? He folds his laundry. You caught him. He's going to do it all the time. I love that. One of the special things that you guys do during the year is Hollywood Day.
Yes.
Tell me about
Yes.
Hollywood Day for these kids, and what's it like to go?
Yes, so a wonderful blessing. One of the ladies that helps to run the park, I won't give her exact title away. Lisa and I got to meet with her several years ago, and she sweetly treated us like we were important, and we're not. Brought us to their conference room in the big board table and all of that. And she asked us, "Have you thought about bringing the kids here?" Well, immediately I'm thinking, yes, let's go. Well, my wife, who's the planner and organizer, is thinking, how are we going to do that? What are we going to do? What if we lose one? How are we watching them? How are we protecting them? So what we do is we literally rent a bus,
Okay.
and all of us ride there together, and we bring extra people. We have extra adults, extra eyes, extra hands, things like that to help watch the kids. But we intentionally do it on day 3. So we've got a couple of days of building relationships with them, so them to build up trust with us and to do what we say. And so it's just been, we've never once had an incident there. It's just been a wonderful blessing. Every year we've been able to do it.
That's awesome. I'm sure the kids see the rides, and some of them have probably never been on some of these rides, and they're ready to go to the water park, motor
Most of
ride.
them never dreamed of being able to go to Dollywood.
Dollywood's a great place, and we're blessed to live near it, I guess.
Yes.
As I say, it's a great place. It's really just a fun family atmosphere. It's a good, wholesome kind of place, especially with the mission you guys are doing, and kind of go to a place like that, and they could see the story of a person who came from nothing and persevered and became something and gave back to their community. That's a great role model.
And when we met with them, we knew Dolly's background, and her heart for poor families in the mountains, if you
Mhm.
will, East Tennessee, but in the mountains. And that's the kids we're serving. And I was hoping when we met with Dollywood that Dolly was giving us a check, and
Let's put it out there.
and they have offered us being able to, and that's been a wonderful blessing.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you guys have a golf tournament coming up. Speaking of how to support Camp Amplify, tell me a little bit more about the golf
Yes,
tournament.
we
How
do.
can we get
So
involved?
for the last several years, we've done a golf tournament at a golf course.
Okay.
Enjoy doing it, been able to raise some money doing it, but it's all day and it's an awful lot of work. Well, what we're trying this year is we're using a Top Golf in Buford, northeast of Atlanta,
Okay.
Buford, Georgia. A Top Golf. It lasts 3 hours, but it's still a golf tournament. But you're hitting out of those bays, and you have a team of 6, and we have food there. And the coolest thing for us, Joey, is they run everything. I don't have to do it all.
Oh, yeah. I love Top Golf. We have one over in Farragut. And
Yes.
the guys over there are amazing.
Yes.
The
So that's
operation's great.
next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Thursday the 25th, yes, at
Okay.
the Top Golf in Buford.
So there's still spots available for
Yes,
people?
yes.
Okay.
We have been very blessed with sponsors for the golf tournament, but we don't have enough golfers.
So you hear that next Thursday if you want to golf in North Georgia at Top Golf in Buford.
Come on and
Sign
have
up.
fun. Come on and have fun.
And to learn more about that, go to campamplify.org. Perfect. Awesome. So if you're loving what you're hearing today, here are a few ways you can take action, guys. Remember, support Camp Amplify. You can volunteer, sponsor a camper, or just connect with Chris and Lisa and with the organizations that serve kids. So visit campamplify.org, or I didn't ask you if this is okay, Chris. Give your email address out, chris@campamplify.org.
Absolutely, yes.
Sweet. Love that. And, join the Prosperity Lounge. Inside, you'll get free tools like our 8-step guide, Stop Living Paycheck to Paycheck, our Student Loan Survival Guide, our Prosperity Planner, all at theprosperitylounge.com. And for those who are ready to get serious with your money, I just launched a brand new course called Don't Hate the B Word. Most people hear the B word, it's budget, and think sacrifice and spreadsheets they'll never stick to. This course flips the script. You'll discover how to build a budget you'll actually use, one that gives you permission to say yes to clarity, and yes to peace of mind, and yes to building the life you've been dreaming about. Because remember, the budget is the foundation upon which your financial house is built. It's a self-paced 4 modules packed with practical tools, quizzes, and PDFs, and you can use it again and again and again. And right now, you get lifetime access for just $97. It's an amazing deal. There's opportunities in there to connect with me and work with me to review your budget and have some one-on-one time as well. Head to the prosperitylounge.com and click on courses to enroll today. It's actually at the bottom of the screen there. You can click on it because budgeting isn't punishment, it's possibility. And before we get back, I have to give a shout out to my niece, Leah, in California. Today was student council elections in 5th grade, and I got a text just before I got to the show here that she made it. She's one of 10 people to be on student council. So
Woo-hoo.
congratulations, Leah. Proud of you. Knew you could do it. I'm going to steal some of your campaign stuff when I run for something someday, and hopefully I'll have the same results. So congratulations. All right, Chris, let's get back to something a little serious here.
You mentioned budget
Yeah.
a minute ago. Lisa and I are facilitators for Financial Peace from Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey. I'm a Dave Ramsey certified preferred coach.
I love it. Yes.
Yes.
So we just sent in our grant request to the Dave Ramsey Foundation.
Love that.
So hopefully Dave or Mr. and Miss Cruz are listening, and they can
Fingers
help.
crossed, maybe. You never know. Send it that way. I'll tag him in this. You never know.
They can help that grant get across the finish line.
Well, I'm going to put that little clip up and tag him in that. So, yeah, we went through the Dave Ramsey program back in 2007. We were $370,000 in debt.
Yeah.
And it took us about 2.5 years. And after that, I said to my wife, I want to help people like me, like us. I don't know what that looks like. And ended up going through the coaching program and going down the whole gamut of learning how to do finance. And I have an MBA in financial planning. And
Amen.
I was going to be a certified financial planner. And took a course in behavioral finance to change my life. And now I help people get to the root cause of money issues and money problems. And
Love it.
I love all that. And my goal like this is to do enough business coaching and enough stuff with the radio show and things like that I can do financial coaching for free as an industry.
Amen. Amen.
But if you're listening to the show, Dave, we are going to also request some stuff there from you as well.
And as he says frequently, the number one issue in marriages is money fights and money problems.
That's correct.
And if you live like nobody else, later you can live like nobody else.
That's right. I love that. Man, I like you for a reason, Chris. I liked you, buddy. One of the things you talked about that I actually found interesting was a survey done by the campers that said, now get this, folks, laying flat on the bunk, rest time, was the kids' favorite activity. Not rope climbing, not the food, and resting. Why does that hit you so deeply, man? That is crazy.
You know, it's the first time we've had that put on a survey. And we do camper surveys at the end of camp. What was your favorite part of camp?
Mm-hmm.
Frequently, it's Hollywood. You know,
of course.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's their counselor. My counselor was a favorite. Well, you know what? You just had somebody fiddling with you 24/7 for 5 days. I'd be a big fan of theirs too.
Sure.
But for the first time ever, we had people, or had some of the campers put FOB, and we call that flat on bunk. And it is the hour immediately after lunch that the kids, they don't have to take a nap, but they go take it easy on their bunk. Usually the first day, they don't rest too much, but the second and the third day, they're out.
Yeah.
And the counselor has to wake them up. And we asked some child professionals about that, and they said there's only one reason why a kid would ever put resting was their favorite part, because they're not getting enough rest at home. And what a blessing it is, Joey, that they could come to our camp and feel safe enough to truly rest.
And then it just kind of compounds on things. You were talking about rest. That rest is going to reset serotonin levels, all the levels that you have. It's also then the food, better nutrition what they're getting, and then activity level stimulation. So it's a real whole body, mind, soul reset for these kids during that week.
Thank you. What a great point. Thank you.
You're welcome. You can use that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love that because it's not just focusing on one aspect. You're focusing on everything. I got a comment in the chat here that says the camp is such a blessing for kids, and it really is.
It is.
I'm not saying I want to be I'd love to kind of go check this place out. You guys come back.
You know you were welcome.
I'll step off on one of the rope things and maybe I might have to get me down to 4 Man. So let's take us. I just realized that I have 3 more pages of questions for you, Chris, and we are close to the end of the show.
I've talked too much.
No, we've had a great conversation. So I want to kind of push forward a little bit here and talk about where you guys are going next. Right now, you lease space from other camps.
Yes.
What's the biggest challenge of that model?
The hard part for Lisa and I is we rent a U-Haul van. We load everything we need for camp up in that van. We drive it to camp. We unload it. We set everything up we need for camp for the whole week. We do camp for a whole week. Then we take it back down, load it back up, drive it back home, and store it until we do the next week of camp. And Joey, I'll be honest, the older I get, the harder that's getting.
Oh, yeah. How many weeks of camp are there during the year?
So we're doing 2 each summer.
Okay.
We want to do more, but it's just hard when you're leasing space from existing camps because they don't have multiple weeks available.
Sure.
And the other thing is being able to drive it to camp and back and haul everything to camp and back. So,
Are these concurrent weeks or they're leased?
no, they're spread out. In fact, next year we're doing early in June 8th through 12th, and then we're doing the very end of June, going into the first part of July. So they're spread out by about 3 weeks next year. The first one in Tennessee and the second one in Georgia.
So your main goal for Camp Amplify is, let's say their 10-year plan or 5-year plan even. First thing up on the list, owning some property or getting some property that's specifically for you guys.
Yes.
Okay. Because that itself talked about reducing expenses by upwards of 60%.
Yes.
And then that allows you with a meaner operating budget to do some fun, maybe expansions to hire more people and do that thing where you're talking about bringing it up here, still keeping that 1 to 6 model, but still being able to service more kids.
Yes. Yes. And we want to serve 1,000 kids as fast as we possibly can. And we're not going to just do that through the summer. What about doing fall camps during fall break? What about doing Christmas camps?
Ooh, yeah.
Literally a Christmas camp between Christmas and New Year's. What about doing spring break camps? What about doing weekend getaways? What about doing, Joey, when you and I were growing up, they called them Disciple Now weekends, or even older than that, lock-ins at the church. Or you can even do 1 night or 2 nights. There's lots of different things. We have wonderful ideas being able to serve more kids.
Things and focuses, each weekend can focus on a certain, not just a theme or a situation or an area.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
The possibilities are endless.
Yes.
I love that. What's the highest amount of kids you've had in a week so far?
This past year, in the 2 weeks, we served 60 kids. It's the most we've ever served.
Total?
Yes, between the 2 camps,
Okay.
yes.
Nice. So if a business lender or donor is listening right now, what's the single most helpful introduction you could get this week?
We have prayed and looked for our own space for the entire 8 years we've done this. We have looked at existing camps, and many of the camps that we lease space from, they're not used frequently, or they're not very well financially supported. They're through different nonprofit organizations, Baptist organizations, or whatever. And my wife and I are Baptist missionaries, so I can do that specifically. But they're not used frequently, but they don't want to sell them. They can't get all the churches to agree that they'd want to sell it or donate it or whatever. So we would love to find an existing camp that maybe somebody's tired of doing, tired of fooling with, whatever, that we could come in, take over, run, make it ours, put in resources that we have. We have people on the sidelines saying they want to help, things they want to do. Or if we could just find some land that we could develop into what we're doing. We've got a lot of FEMA trailers that may be available to us that we could use without building a building. And for instance, if we had a property and we got it even between now and first of the year, next year we could be doing camps on that property. We literally could be using that property to do camps.
Because you have all the equipment already ready
Yes.
to go.
Yes.
Setups. Okay.
Yes.
Now, this was funny because this is something I connected with you on when you were talking, and it's kind of like the same business model I have. You called a terrible business model building a camp for kids who can't afford it. I run a financial coaching business, and I charge people money who can't afford it. It's a terrible business model. But the skin in the game aspect.
Yes.
Earlier.
Yes.
Why exactly is that? What exactly is the point of it being a terrible? It's not a terrible business model, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. But you have to rely on a lot more of community support, lender support, partnerships in the community, and not just locally, but more regionally at this point. I imagine that there's something here that we're going to talk. Maybe I'll put this out there, expanding beyond East Tennessee, where there's Camp Amplify elsewhere.
Yes. We would love to raise and grow up other camps to use this same model, be able to go pour into them, help them. Hey, this is how you do it. That kind of thing. We would love to be able to do that.
I love that. Okay. We got some listener questions as we move towards the end of our stories. Some questions that came in from Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, email, everywhere inside our Prosperity Lounge community. I put the show out there, and people said, "Hey, I got some questions for Chris." So some of these we might have already talked about, but we're going to talk here. Mark from Maryville asked, "Where are you hosting camp this summer, and can locals volunteer?"
Boy, that's a great question for somebody from Maryville, because we have a week booked the first June 8th through 12th at Montvale Springs, which is a camp in Maryville.
There you go.
Yes. So that's the first week, and then the second week will be at a place we've used several times in Georgia.
Okay. Angela in Johnson City said, "How do kids get selected? Can a school counselor recommend someone?"
Yes, and we would love to partner with schools or churches. We just ask them to identify which kids need to come, and then, of course, the counselor or someone from the school would come with them. Atlanta Public Schools brings kids every year to Camp Grace, the people mentoring us. The principal or assistant principal gets a van and goes and picks the kids up because they see the power and how important it is to be able to get these underserved kids inner city Atlanta to a camp.
Okay. What does it cost to send a child for a week, and can somebody sponsor that?
Yes, our actual cost is $1,000 a week and rising.
Okay. That's per
And-
child?
Yes, per child for a week. Yes.
Okay, so you for 50 kids, 60 kids. Like, I'm doing the math real quick in my head. That's 60K.
Yes, just for camp.
Just
That
for camp.
doesn't count operations and printing and all the other things you have to do getting ready for all of that. T-shirts,
Oh, yeah.
all of those kind of things.
Okay. So, yeah, there's
But
We just
Joe,
love
we're talking about
campamplify.org.
property and all of that,
Yeah.
and building a camp for people that can't afford it. Isn't that what God does? Because if I'm
That's
doing
right.
this in my strength and my ability, then God don't get the glory. But Joey, if I do it and I can't do it and it still happens, He gets the glory. None of it goes to me.
That's what good stewardship is about.
That's what we want.
I love that. Okay. Paul in Chattanooga said, "If my business wants to get involved, what's the best way to start?"
Yes, please reach out to us through our website or my email, chris@campamplify.org. We would love to come meet with you and talk about different options. We're open to whatever other people may think.
All right. Trying something new here, Chris. Rapid fire questions.
Yes.
First thing that comes to your mind. First camp memory you ever had.
A young man that the when his daddy dropped him off, the partner said the daddy said he's not worth taking. You don't want him. He's a bad kid. He was the first kid to ask Jesus into his heart again.
Most underrated camp activity.
Climbing.
The song that is summer camp.
Goodness.
That's
I may have to think about that for a
That's
minute.
why I said
But
that.
any of my counselors listening, they're screaming the name of what
Put it in the chat, write in the comments later. Chris will get back to you. One leadership lesson camp teaches better than school.
you can do it.
Your favorite part of the 4Fs this year and why?
Faith that God loves you. Kid after kid that we did not think was paying any attention whatsoever asked Jesus into their heart again.
I love that, man. You're just a rock star, dude.
No.
So before we close, let's get a few takeaways from today's conversation with Chris and Camp Amplify. You got the 4Fs that matter: faith, family, food, and fun aren't just slogans, they're lifelines. For kids from shelters, foster care, and tough home situations, these 4 create stability, belonging, and joy. Phones down, heads up. Camp Amplify is a phones-free camp. Within days, kids rediscover face-to-face connection, courage, and play, and changes how they see themselves and others. Rest is a gift. For many children, flat on a bunk, a simple afternoon rest is the first time they feel safe enough to nap. Impact lasts years. Kids remember their counselors and lessons, sometimes 7 years later and longer. Envision this whole, guys, 1,000 kids a year in Tennessee and Georgia and maybe beyond. Let's get some property. Let's help these guys out. 1 week at camp can change a child's trajectory from fear and confidence to chaos and hope. And you can be part of that story. Visit campamplify.org to learn more, volunteer, or sponsor a child. Remember, you're not just sending a child to camp, you're giving them rest, courage, and hope. Thanks, Chris, for sharing your heart with us today. You can get involved by visiting campamplify.org or reach directly Chris@campamplify.org. And head on over to Prosperity Lounge and sign up for our newsletter and join our free community, access all our valuable resources, and check out our new course. Like I always say, the budget is the foundation upon which your financial house is built. Until next time, everybody, stay faithful, stay fearless, and remember, Freedom lives where faith and action meet. The lounge is always open, and so is your next breakthrough. This is the Prosperity Lounge. Thank you, buddy. Had a great time. Thanks, everybody in the chat, for having us.
I didn't turn it off.
It's all good. Take care of that. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. And remember, tonight I'm going to be live again covering the hockey game. So have fun, join us then, and we'll all have a good time. Until next week, everybody.
This is where momentum meets the sun.
Will you please come to
Prosperity Lounge, yeah, we don't just talk.
Yes, June 18th.